Hello, and welcome back to Mortals and Portals, a Pathfinder real play podcast. I am your host and GM, Zach, and joining me at the table is...
Adam, and I play Jules, a Nazarketi bard.
I'm Joel, and I play Dax, a kobold rogue.
Howdy, I'm Ryan. I play Ryu. That was a cowboy, angry Ryu, a tiefling magus.
I'm Ryan, and I also play Ryu, a tiefling magus.
Were you going for a cowboy there, Adam?
Nope, not at all.
Oh, okay.
You know, every
Me neither.
time Adam does like a weird mix-up intro, like Joel does not partake, Ryan does partake,
Ryan
and then
does,
Taryn does
and
some
then
wild
Taryn-
card thing at the end to like say the wrong name. So glad we got a familiar cadence to our randomness. So
Routine is nice.
Sorry, I'm Taryn. I play Waltz, a human champion.
yeah, we know. I think they know by now. Although, like, I know that some listeners, like, to us, our voices sound so distinctly different, but I'm sure there's still people by like episode 14, 13, whatever this is. They're like, all these people sound the same to me. Like, I have no idea what's going on. So, yeah, maybe you should say your real name,
Idiots.
but yeah.
We are idiots, not
Yeah,
our
we are
listeners.
idiots. Yeah, I was gonna say we are idiots. Yeah.
We sound like idiots, is what I was saying. Sorry, everyone.
It's all right. I don't think they're that mad. We'll get a big old Reddit post tomorrow. Anyway,
right.
Cool. So last time,
That was Zach that said that.
Adam, I was starting the recap.
Sorry, yeah. You do your thing. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Normally I save
No,
the
no,
shut
you
ups
go
for the end, but I'm going to give you a shut up right now because I'm doing the recap. Everybody
Taryn,
shut
We're
up.
trying to get started.
Oh, so aggressive.
Okay.
Shush, Taryn.
We were this slow to get started before we hit record, by the way. So this is just bleeding into us hitting record. All right. Last time on Mortals and Portals, the party was separated because if you recall, Ryu got swooped up by a drake and taken through a portal, which we found out led to Forgast's lair, and he was revived by a group of drake knights that was led by a hobgoblin named Bolgru. And Bolgru revealed that he has orders from Sindor that he needs to get Ryu off of Nisserine. Ryu questioned how Bolgru seemed to know that he was an Erikai, and Bolgru mentioned that he has fought Erikai, so obviously that triggered Ryu's hatred for all things Fangdom, goblinoids from Desolus, and he tried to fight back and resist. Without his sword, he failed, greatly outnumbered, injured, so he ended up getting overwhelmed and restrained and thrown into a cart, and this cart started heading down a tunnel. Meanwhile, the rest of the party, after killing Clag, regrouped and decided to take a rest for the night because they were in no condition to fight Forgast. Jules was literally drying out. His Azarkezi heritage requires that he submerges himself in waters, what is it, every 48 hours, Adam?
Yep.
So what he did is he took out a little torch and made a sweet little hot tub and had a little jacuzzi. Little break, a little way to just unwind from all the stress of missing Ryu and fighting drakes and all these things. And then the next morning, they awoke. Nothing happened in the night. They decided to head towards Forgast's lair, which Geldir now conveniently seems to know where it is. Dax questioned him on how he is constantly changing what he says, and Geldir nonchalantly said, "Look, man, I gotta look out for myself, and that's what I'm doing. And it's simple for you guys. Sindor's your enemy, but he's my boss. He could kill me. You guys could kill me. I'm looking out for numero uno, and that's Geldir." Dax accepted that. You guys walked a little bit longer. Then you heard some commotion, ran up to the hillside, looked down, and you saw some wolves. Ryan says I say wolves weird, so I'm sorry if you guys think I say wolves. I don't know. I'm doing my
Let
best.
us know.
Yeah, let us know.
W-O-O-F-S.
Do I say wolves weird? Wolves? Yeah, wolves. So
Do you think you're saying it right now?
I do feel validated in my pronunciation of
again.
wolves. Wolves.
There it
wolves.
is.
Yeah, wolves. Who cares? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. That's all that matters. So some wolves were surrounding this hippogriff, and it appeared to be the same hippogriff from, I don't know, episode 9 that they took out of the cart that was being transported by Drake Knights. It was still restrained. It had some arrows in its thigh. It looked like it was about to be overrun. So the party rushed to its aid, fought off the wolves, and cut the restraints on the hippogriff, which then expanded its wings and scared off the remaining wolves that ran off into the, I don't know, is it right? Wolves, that ran off into the horizon. And then this hippogriff was in pain, so they took out the arrows, gave it some apples. You know, apples coming to the rescue as always. Thanks, Digbsy. Still feeling your presence all this time later. And they seemed to befriend the hippogriff. and said, what should we name it? And that is where we ended our session. So that's roughly where we'll start our session. We'll say you guys have been walking with this hippogriff for a while, feeding it some food as you head towards the lair. It's clearly befriended you all. It feels comfortable. And you guys are pondering names. So I'll kick it over to you guys, minus Ryu. And yeah, what's going on?
I've never been good at, making names or anything. I don't know, Hippie or Griffy or Griffin. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's a little too on the nose, I'd say. What about, Benjamin?
What?
I'm kidding, of course. How ridiculous would that be if we named him Benjamin? A hippogriff named Benjamin?
What kind of name is Benjamin? It's like Ben with Jum just slapped on the end. Lazy.
Got 2 first names
Good one, Geldir.
in his first name. Sorry, I'm not
Who's
here.
talking? You're not
Did you hear that?
Ooh.
What do you think, Dax? What do you think we should name this thing?
What'd you guys call this? A hippogriff? Back on my home planet, there was some guy named Ken Griffey Jr. What if we did Ken Hippogriffy Jr.?
There is not someone of that name. My world
Dang
building
it.
is not that absurd.
Well, of all places for Zach to draw the line.
That's where I draw the line.
Right? I don't know. Screech?
Yeah, he does seem to make that noise a lot. And as he says that, the hippogriff lets out a little screech and starts nudging Waltz in the hand repeatedly and sticking its beak into his pockets.
Hey, listen, buddy, I don't have any more of those apples. I wish I brought more for you, but that's all I got.
It snorts out of its nose and shakes its head, looking frustrated.
He certainly does love those Granny Smiths.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? Those are some pretty fine apples. I ate 3 of them at one point, I think.
No way. In a row?
Yeah,
That's
3 in a row. I
ridiculous.
was pretty
I don't
hungry.
think I've ever binged apples.
Hey, what about Smith?
That's not bad.
That's fitting. He likes those apples, and they're Granny Smith apples. I see where you drew the connection from. That's perfect.
Very good, very
You've
good
got
there,
it.
Waltz.
Thank you.
You're tracking very well.
And then I'll go up to the hippogriff and kind of pet it on the neck. What do you say, fella? Do you like Smith?
The hippogriff rears back and opens its wings, stomps down on the ground and folds its wings back in and gives you a playful nudge.
Well, I'd say he likes it.
Think so.
Perfect. We have a pet with a name. Now we can be sad when the Drake eats it.
Yeah, when Zach
shut up,
kills
Kelly.
him.
Hey, welcome to the party, Smith, and I'll pet the hippogriff.
Gives you a nudge. So the group walks for a while. The sun is starting to get low. You seem to have adjusted to the climate for the most part. The wind is nowhere near as harsh as when you originally entered Pagos and had a very tough time adjusting, although it is still cold, of course, but you do feel acclimated in a way. And after hours of walking, Geldir slows to a stop at the edge of a ravine and drops to a knee and points. There it is, fellas. Forgast Slayer.
What do we see?
So you look over the ravine and you see basically the mountain that was in the center of Nisarine, Mount Banu, is obviously very large and extending out to the base of the mountain where it makes contact in Pagos. You see some sort of a cave entrance and a large mound with snow over it and a rocky terrain at the base of the mountain.
I don't suppose there's any way in this thing other than the front door here, eh?
Actually, there is.
Well, that's really convenient. Where's it at?
He looks around at all of you and looks back to the cave and says, well, there's a little bit of a crevice in the roof. A hole if Forgast 7 needs to fly out of the roof, gets trapped, so on. And then there's the traditional mouth of the cave as well. Gives us 2 options. Well, from this side.
Geldir, how do you know all this?
I'm a bloody Drake Knight, mate.
Do all Drake Knights go where Forgast is? Do you all just go to all the layers of all the Drakes, or?
No, not necessarily. I've just been around a while. Done some time in Pagos. Enoch, never gained more, but not much for the heat.
Sure. So how high up is this hole?
Just at the base of the little mound right there. Not too high, not much of a climb either.
Perhaps we could climb up there and get a better look at what we're in for.
Yeah, and we do got this thing right here, and I'll pat Smith again.
Geldir looks at all you and says, I don't know if you recall, but Forgast definitely got the better of us. And now we're a man short. I know we got this thing here, and he points over at Smith. He goes, but that doesn't necessarily even the odds. I think we need a more coordinated attack, not simply peering through the hole and seeing where it's at. We gotta be more strategic than that. As soon as it knows where we're at, our cover's blown, and we have to improvise. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't really want to improvise inside a Drake's lair.
So what would you suggest?
Geldir, would a Drake suited to the cold like this be susceptible to fire?
Absolutely. Isn't that why you got that fancy little pistol there?
Yes, ready to use it.
Right.
I wonder if we could figure out a way to at least block off one of the exits. Maybe set a fire or something at the front of the cave and going through the top, or vice versa.
Geldir kind of scrunches his face like he's not too impressed by that idea. Listen, there's 2 entrances from this side, but there's also tunnels within. Forgast has options. We gotta get the jump on them, you see. We gotta treat it like we got 1 or 2 shots at this thing, and if we don't kill it in that time, then well, we're probably good as dead.
Well, listen, guys, I've been the distraction before, and if I need to do that again this time, willing to sacrifice myself if it means that maybe we find Ryu as well. Maybe we figure out where he could have gone. You guys can get the jump on the hippogriff, and listen, I'll be fine. I got myself out at 1 execution, and if they try and execute me this time, I'm sure I'll be fine.
Well, Walt, I appreciate your bravery, but I have a feeling we're going to need all hands on deck for this one.
Geldir, what if me and you go in as Drake Knights, and they come in from the top?
That could work. Maybe. It all depends. We don't know what this Drake knows. It's in contact with Sindor. Sindor's seen us. They're linked in a way. Not sure if that'll work. I mean, these Drakes aren't too smart, but it's risky. Listen, as much as I would like for you to be a distraction and, well, die, I think there's something a little more useful that you and I could do. He's kind of like looking around at the composition of the party, and he goes, I know you guys don't trust me much, but I've been thinking about this a while now, and I think I've devised a bit of a plan.
Well, let's hear it.
Right. Well, this one here, he's pretty sneaky. I've seen him scampering about. Points at Dax. And this one here, though he got gun shy, seems to be good with the pistol. Am I right? Gestures to Jules.
Correct.
And this one here seems to think he's pretty strong. Isn't that right there, Waltz?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of strong sometimes.
Excellent. Well, here's what I'm thinking. Waltz and I, we go to the top of this mound. See? There's some boulders up there. He and I roll them to the edge of this crevice. The rest of you enter through the mouth of the cave. Dex, scopes it out, sees if Ryu's in there. Maybe he can just get him out. If not, thinks of a way to, lure Forgast underneath the hole in the roof of sorts. Waltz and I push some boulders off, try and crush the bugger, and then Jules finishes him off with a pistol shot. How's that sound?
Surprisingly well thought out.
Imagine that.
Is there any flaw with the GM coming up with the plan and what we do here?
It's almost
this
like
a
we
trap?
have 4 weeks to think about it.
I think he has a lot of time to think about this sort of thing. But hey, feel free to poke holes in it. Wouldn't want you to pop a blood vessel there, though, Waltz. Thinking too hard.
Thank you. That must have been really difficult for you to say.
He shakes his head. I'll be honest, though. This hippogriff wasn't really part of my plans, so not sure what you want to do with it. Though you should know, these hippogriffs are typically used as bait for the drakes, in practice of sorts. As far as I know, they're faster than the drakes, that's why they bind their wings, but drakes sure do like eating them.
Well, I don't know how I feel about using Smith as bait, but perhaps he would have another use.
Yeah, the only thing that's tough is we wouldn't really have any way of communicating with the other party. If
That's why you plan
me
ahead.
and you, Gildir. Right, planning ahead, it only gets you so far. If
We-
they were to get captured or anything, how are we supposed to know?
I have a feeling we'd have a pretty good view, friend.
Can we see that much from up there?
A little bit.
Probably enough to know if something's going south, huh?
That's the idea.
Walt, if you took Smith with you, do you think you could ride him?
I guess you're gonna have to ask Smith, aren't you?
Smith is still just digging his head into your pocket.
Waltz will kind of move so he gets out of my pocket. I'll pet him a little bit on the head and neck. I'll try and steady him, and I want to try and mount Smith.
All right. Roll a command animal check with a +2 circumstance bonus.
Were you talking to me, Zach?
I haven't talked to you at all this whole episode. I literally don't care what you're doing.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Just checking.
15.
So you go up to Smith, pet him a little bit. He calms down. His wings are pinned to his side. Give a little exhale. Here goes nothing sort of thing. You hop up on his back. He does a little bit of a kick for a moment and then relaxes.
Oh, there, Smith. We're all right. Come on. I ain't gonna hurt you.
You see him kind of nervously spinning around in circles with you on his back, but slowly. And then he gradually comes to a stop, turns his head around, and kind of nudges back towards you. Obviously can't get his head all the way around. And then lets out a snort and calms himself.
All right. See, that ain't so bad. We're buddies, Smith. Listen, as soon as I find more food, you'll be the first to find out. I'll pet him one more time and hop off of him. Listen, if I keep rolling well on my D20, I think I'll be able to ride him just fine there, Jules.
Aye.
Hey, I'm the meta character around here.
Yeah, Jules, I think if everything goes well and nothing startles him too much, there's a good shot he'd let me ride him, so we'll see.
Then I suggest you and Geldir take Smith with you and prepare yourselves for releasing the boulders on Forgast. But if for some reason Dax and I can't escape the way we came, then you hop onto Smith and fly down to evacuate us.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. What do you think about that there, Gilly?
I'm proud of you. You guys came up with a plan all on your own for once. Well, part of a plan.
Hey, you, Gilly.
Oh my gosh.
I've been waiting to do that for a while, you know?
Oh, man.
That was great. Oh my gosh. Now Terrence's the funny one.
Gildir
Oh,
does a little
man.
chuckle and pats you on the shoulder. We all ready? We know what to do.
I think so.
Well, let's get to it. And you all stand up and start to descend the hill and approach the cave. And with that, we'll jump to Ryan, who's just been smiling this whole time. You can tell he just would love to play with us. He loves playing Pathfinder with his friends. So yeah, Ryan, you get to play tonight. Are you excited?
Yeah.
So Ryu, you have been traveling in the back of a wagon for a while now, just kind of rocking back and forth. You can tell you're in some sort of tunnel, just the echoing of the rickety wagon vibrating off the walls. There is about 10 Drake Knights in the wagon with you. They've all been snickering, making comments about your horns, poking fun of you, saying things like, "Not so tough now, are we?" and so on. And there's one Drake Knight that has been throwing pebbles at you for a while now from across the wagon. "I don't see what the big deal is with these Arakai." Throws a little pebble at your forehead. Bulgru says, "Well, I'd be careful if I was you. If he ever gets out of those restraints, I think you'll find yourself in pieces." "I doubt it." Throws another little pebble at your forehead.
Bulgru, you seem to be the only one in this cart with any sense.
"Mo, that's why I'm captain, friend."
You should know that when I do get out of these restraints, I'll come for you first.
"Well, that's why you won't get out of those restraints. Problem solved."
Answer me this, Bulgru.
"Shoot."
You're from Desolus?
"Aye."
How did you get to Nisserine?
Found myself at one of the only nodes not controlled by the Fangdom. Got myself to Mandaru, on Mortifer.
Is that another planet?
Aye.
I believe that's where Walt said he was from.
Is he a human?
None of your business. Answer my other questions.
You haven't asked any other questions yet.
I'm about to, okay? I was getting to it.
Go ahead.
So it wasn't Sindor that got you off of Desolus?
Aye.
Oh, it was Sindor.
No, I is yes. I'm agreeing with
as
you.
in,
I suppose
he
yeah.
didn't catch up.
Yeah, depending on the perspective, it could be
Right, this
yes
is-
he did, but oh yes you are correct.
Maybe
He
answer
did not
more
get me
than
off the
I,
island.
Just for clarity's sake.
I'll
Okay.
Sindor did not get me off Desolus.
I feel like we've got more banter than we should for how much I hate you right now.
It's it's just fine.
I feel like there's an energy between us.
How much do you know about these nodes and how they work?
Oh bloody, that's right, the Airkai. You guys are recluse. You don't know nothing about Keldor. Everybody knows how Node works.
Oh?
Yes, they align with nodes on other planets, create a link, portal.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. Is there any way of controlling the travel?
Not unless you can change the orbit of a planet.
So you just so happen to be at the node when you travel to Mandaru?
No, there's smart people. They know what astronomers. They can calculate it. Close anyway.
How did you start working for Sindor?
Well, not sure if you know, since you just seem to hate every goblinoid. But the Fangdom oppresses more than the Erakai. Not every goblinoid agrees with what they do, so we leave. Obviously the Fangdom doesn't like that too much, and we're hunted by the Kaningo wherever we go throughout Keldora. If the Kaningo ever find any goblinoid that isn't a member of the Kaningo, they know to either kill him or take him back to Desolus. Needless to say, quite the wanted man. Being with Sindor Drake Knights provides me security, among other things. Sindor knew that, and found me.
Would Ryu be familiar with the... Was it Kaningo or Kanindo?
Kaningo?
Would Ryu be familiar with the Kaningo? And
Not
that
necessarily,
occurring?
because
Okay.
you don't really know everything about their culture, and you kind of just see everyone as enemies, and the Erakai have never left Desolus, so
Yeah.
they're not exactly familiar with all of that stuff.
That's what I was thinking too, is Ryu just kind of always saw any goblinoid as an enemy because anyone that he had ever interacted with had always fought him, and I guess he just assumed every goblinoid under the Fangdom was loyal to that Fangdom. So Ryu's getting a little bit different perspective here, maybe a little bit of cognitive dissonance going on about how to feel about Bulgru here.
So as you're pondering this and thinking that all goblins aren't so bad, another pebble hits you in the forehead. This little Erakai doesn't know nothing. Throws a pebble.
Bulgru, one final question.
What?
How much do you care about that goblinoid at the end of the cart?
He looks back over his shoulder, chuckles. He's not following orders. Makes him useless.
I'd like to try to push the guy throwing pebbles off the cart with my Gale Blast cantrip if I can.
Yes.
Do it.
So he just has to pass a fortitude save, I think.
All right.
I love this.
So, although you're constrained, which does limit your ability to cast this, you're able to focus and channel a very precise aura, so it doesn't do the normal all around you blast, and you just shoot it outward, manifesting it in front of you, and it hits him very precisely in the chest. He flips over the back of the wagon, does a little backflip, lands on the ground, and then the cart runs over his head, and you hear a crunch on the ground.
Oh my gosh.
I was
is like-
not expecting that. This ride ought to be a lot more comfortable for all of us.
You hear all the other Drake Knights in the cart stop all their little chatter and snickers, and you hear them scooting on their seats, getting further away from you. And with that, we'll cut back to the party. So you all meet at the mouth of the cave for a moment, and know this is your final opportunity to say anything to one another, alter any plans, and so on before you split into two groups and go to fight Forgast, who you know you did no damage to, and he absolutely decimated Ryu and almost wiped out Waltz and is very, very formidable.
Oh, Walt, you're still looking a little rough. Let me, before we get going on this, let me see if I can patch you up a little bit. All right?
Yeah, that'd be great. I appreciate it, Dax.
All right, I will do a treat wounds. Give him a little bit of healing.
All right.
That's a 10. Dang it.
Like you did 10 healing to me?
No,
No,
that's a
rolled a
10 check. There's no way I pass that, because it's a DC 15.
Did you say you got a 16, Joel?
Right.
Dax, Waltz drops to a knee and you start to work on him. You guys are all sort of chattering amongst yourselves, and you're looking over Waltz's shoulder at the mouth of this cave, and you're trying to focus on healing Waltz, but you just keep thinking of how powerful Forgast was and how he absolutely wiped out Ryu, how frightening it was, how you did absolutely no damage to him whatsoever. And then you start thinking about Rhaegorn and how difficult that was and how it literally cost Digbsy's life and how it could have easily been you. And you realize how close you've been to death and you just can't focus and you're unable to heal Waltz effectively.
For sure. I don't know, Waltz, man. This seems impossible.
No, I think that actually feels pretty good. Yeah, we'll be in good shape here, and I'll pat Dax and roll my shoulder and kind of walk on my legs a little bit, try and get rid of my little limp that I might have had, and be like, yeah, let's do this. I think I feel ready. What about you guys?
Gelder's been sitting on a boulder with his elbows on his knees, clenched fists up to his forehead, just kind of looking down and anxiously vibrating his leg. Then he lifts his head up, does a big exhale. I mean, when will we really be ready? Might as well do it now.
I'll walk up to Waltz. I'll extend my hand, open hand,
I'll reach out and grab it.
do another flex,
From Rocky 4.
and yes,
Predator.
Rocky 4, Rocky 12.
I genuinely
And
thought it
I'll-
was the end of, like, I think it was Rocky 2. What's the one where right at the end, Sylvester Stallone?
Yeah, I think.
And the guy,
I
like,
think that's
do a-
where.
Are you thinking
Yeah,
of
they
the
do a
scene where they're on the
punch.
beach?
And he goes, ding,
No, no,
on the
where he
beach
goes,
and
like,
they're hugging.
ding, ding, and then they, like, go to fight. I thought,
Yeah.
but that's a
And then they
different
go
thing.
to punch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they go to
what
like
that is.
punch each other, and like then it stops. So you never know who won that fight between
Yeah.
Rocky and Creed. That's what I'm thinking of too.
Because they kiss instead, or what?
Yeah, I think that's the implication.
Oh,
Yeah.
They wanted to keep their G rating, so.
So you grab my hand, we flex. I look you in the eye and I nod and I say, I won't miss.
I know you won't, buddy. And I'll just nod to Jules.
I'll look to Dax, still holding Waltz's hand. I'll lower it down and kind of give him a look as to invite him over to join this bro fest.
Yeah, I'll stand up on my tiptoes and reach my hand, put it up on
Are
top.
you flexing? You gotta flex though. You gotta really
I
just.
can't help
sorry.
but feel like Adam is meta-wise setting up an awesome Patreon poll sketch option right now.
That's just my goal.
And
from
I
now
want
on.
to see this sketch.
And then I'll look to Geldir.
He chuckles and shakes his head. What? He's just making me part of Digbsy's crew? And he walks up, puts his hand out, and puts it on top of your hands. And then a beak nudges Waltz on the
Yes.
shoulder.
Yes, let's go.
Moves its way
Get
into
in
the
there,
center.
Smith. I'll just kind of take a moment to look at all of my buddies here. Think of everything we've been through in such a short time. Certainly think of the events that led me here. Then think of Ryu. And I'll get to Geldir. And I'll take an extra beat. And then I'll say, Geldir, you're well aware that there's been little room for trust between us. But there's plenty of room for redemption.
Geldir uncomfortably scrunches his face. His shoulders tense up for a moment, and a smile cracks for a brief moment, and then kind of curls downwards, and you can swear that you saw for a brief moment that his eyes were starting to water, and he goes, oh, thanks, Jules. And he gives you a nod.
I give a nod back.
All right, remember, boys. Priority number 1, get Ryu back. Priority number 2, kill the Drake.
Aye.
And priority
Agreed.
3, don't die.
Yeah, this guy gets it.
Let's do this.
For Ryu.
Yeah, for Ryu. And then you all break up and head your respective ways.
Jules, let's head to the mouth of the cave and give these guys a minute to get where they need to go, huh?
Aye, I'll follow your lead.
All right. And then I will sneak up to the mouth of the cave, just out to the side of it a bit. Just kind of wait, observe, try to listen out for anything that might be going on inside the cave and listen. I'll just listen to what's going on inside the cave.
Yeah, roll a perception check.
As he's doing that, I'll kind of take the pistol out and just make sure everything's working correctly and I'm kind of prepared.
It's a 16.
So Dax, you crouch down and put your ear up to the mouth of the cave, looking into the darkness. You can't help but get subtle dark lands vibes, which is what you refer to as the subterranean region of Drakis, something you know very well.
Mm-hmm.
And you're listening intently, and almost more chilling than hearing anything, you hear nothing. It's eerily calm. You don't hear any commotion or rustling coming out of the mouth of the cave. And then your focus is interrupted by the clicking sounds of Jules giving his pistol a functions check.
Jules, I don't hear anything at all.
Now that you mention it, I don't hear anything either. It's a bit creepy.
Agreed. Gotta be careful.
Aye.
And we'll cut over to Waltz and Geldir. You're trudging through the snow, up the mound. Smith is following you. And as you're walking, Geldir, kind of uncomfortably, you feel he's a little tense. Hey, Waltz, I guess I never thanked you. I suppose you could have, killed me when we first met. Thanks. And he gives an uncomfortable smile and sticks his hand out to shake your hand.
Hey, don't worry about it, Geldir. We all deserve a second chance, and if I didn't get mine, I absolutely wouldn't be here either. I'll go to grab his hand, shake it, give him a pat on the shoulder, and a nod. All the things that are from
and the shoulder pat. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Dang, dude.
You once again see just an uncomfortable expression on his face, and he shakes your hand, and then you can tell he has more on his mind. And he's breathing a little and shaky. As you keep walking, you can tell he's trying to muster up the words for what he's trying to say.
Hey, is there anything on your mind before we get on with this thing?
Yeah, I guess, you seem like a good guy, Waltz. That healing power you have, ourselves, we pretty educated. I've heard tales of people with divine magic or whatever. Supposedly they're only picked if they're, of good character of sorts. Just feel like I can trust you. Is that right?
I mean, we've made it this far, and we haven't killed you yet, have we?
Yeah. You see him kind of like reach into his coat, and you can catch a brief glimpse of like a piece of parchment that he's kind of rubbing his fingers on, and then he pulls his hand back out. He lets out a big sigh, and he says, I told you before, I used to be a blacksmith from Legothesi. Became a thief. That's all true. Sindor mentioned you're from Eisenholm, Billerod, whatever. I suppose you know about the Fade, right?
Yeah, my community was hit by it pretty bad. I actually lost my mother to it.
You see right away he tightens his lips and his eyes start to water again, and then he wipes his eyes. Yeah, I can relate to that a bit. I used to have a wife, human. Name was Venna. I have a daughter, half-elf, Ilaria, El, call her. And he kind of like looks to the side, like kind of rolling his eyes, like trying to kind of get tears out of his eyes, and then looks forward again. You can tell he like hates that he's talking to you like this right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, we had a little family blacksmith when that whole Fade broke out. All kinds of chaos ensued, refugees fleeing Mortarfall, trying to get off-world away from the plague. Some of them brought it with them, I guess. It's not a big deal on Lothal. Seems like elves were immune to the Fade. No one here was too concerned. But obviously my
My Venna was a human, and someone brought her here. She seemed to get it. Wasn't doing too well. I heard a rumor there was a healer that had some sort of elixir, make her better. Only problem was it was pretty expensive, as you could imagine. Didn't quite have the funds, so as I alluded to earlier, I took to stealing. Managed to get the elixir with, some stolen gold. Got it back to my Venna, and he just pauses for a moment and kind of gives you a look. You can tell, like, he wants to say the next words, but you can tell if he does, he's going to start crying, so he just kind of tilts his head like, you know what happened, sort of thing.
I get it, Gelly. Listen, I don't know what happens to us when we're not in this world anymore, you know? Something tells me there's something bigger and more powerful out there, and I don't know where we go, but I know wherever the ones who have passed on are, they're probably looking down, and I'm sure your wife would be really happy of the man that you're becoming and all you're doing, because I think if we're successful here, we have a really good opportunity to save a lot of people, and it's really unfortunate that you had to go through that, and that she wasn't one of them that we could save, and neither was my mom, you know, but there's a lot of other innocent people out there that I think maybe we can help out.
Yeah, maybe. But for me, the only one I care about is, Elle. See, I got caught for stealing, I don't know how. Somehow the nobleman I scammed figured it out. Was gonna go on the chopping block. That's when Sindor showed up, scooped me out of prison. Only condition was I pledged myself as a Drake Knight. Happy to be alive, for my daughter, but she has no idea where I went. I just gotta get back to her. And he kind of like looks down and he says, "That's the only thing I care about." And he looks you like dead in the eyes and he's just nodding.
Listen, whatever you have to do, I don't blame you. I don't have kids of my own, but I got a little brother and I understand. I hope that means our goals don't conflict too much, but if there's ever anything that I could do to help you get back to her, I promise I'll do that for you, alright? You're one of us now. You're part of Digbsy's crew and means you're a friend.
Thanks. As a matter of fact, there is something you can do. And then he reaches into his coat and pulls out that parchment he was stroking earlier, and you see an envelope, and he's kind of patting it against his other hand, and then he says, "If I die during this, will you make sure this gets to my Elle?" And he reaches it out to you.
I'll grab it. I'll say, listen, you're not gonna die, but if this gives you peace of mind, then, of course, I'll make sure this gets to your Elle. But, you're not gonna have to worry about that, alright? And I'll put it in my pocket. Make sure it's nice and snug, safe somewhere, where it's gonna be protected.
I appreciate that. Alright, and then you guys reach the top of the mound, and you see the large crevice in the roof, and Geldir kind of wipes his eyes a little bit, and shakes his arms, and looks very focused. And then you look around and see some boulders near the crevice, and he says, "Well, you say we saw rolling these to the edge."
Yeah, sounds good. I'll start with this one over here.
Can you roll me an athletics check?
I'll roll you a boulder instead.
You get struck by a meteor and die.
A meteor, not even lightning, which is a little bit more. Lightning would be a little bit more like plausible.
I guess everyone dies. Yeah.
Ooh, 25.
So you go up to the first boulder and start rolling it, and it feels so easy that you put your left hand on a different boulder and you just start rolling two boulders towards the crevice.
Nice.
And you see Geldir like with his shoulder like ramming up against the boulder that he can't quite get to budge. And then he goes, "On second thought, I think you got these." And he leans away. So you roll about 3 boulders up to the crevice and position them on the edge, and Geldir looks at you and says, "No turning back now."
Yeah, it appears not.
Dax, Jules, you feel as though you've given them adequate time. Your move.
I'll put my hand on Jules' knee and just look at him.
You ready to go?
Right behind you, friend.
Here goes nothing.
And that is where we'll end our session.
But I want to know what happens.
Shut up, Ryan. You're
Ryan,
talking too
I
much again.
swear, if you don't shut up, Ryan,
Yeah, you're
you
lucky you were
talked
in
way
this episode.
too much that
Guys,
episode,
let
and
me
you were
play.
seriously irritating me. All right.
You go
me
back to
play
your
too.
corner.
I'm gonna tell
All
my
right.
mom.
Hey, everybody shut
Okay,
up.
okay,
We'll talk
okay,
about it in the
okay.
downtime. We'll talk about it in the
Okay.
downtime. Hey, if you like Mortals and Portals, please,
What's that?
please, that Adam, that's the podcast you're in. That you
Oh,
yeah, that's right.
that's
Okay, yeah.
right.
If you like it, which I'm assuming you do because this is episode, Joel always corrects me. 14? 14? Yeah.
Yep.
This is episode 14. Hey, would you take a brief moment and open your podcast distributor or whatever, YouTube, whatever you're listening on, give us a thumbs up, like, good rating, 5-star, whatever. You know why? Because that helps the algorithms and sorting and all that and helps more people find the show, which incentivizes us to keep doing this and helps grow the show in the community. And that's just, we would really, really appreciate it. So if you could do that, we would be very, very grateful. And we would like to thank our audience for listening to us, because without you, we're just, doing all this effort, recording everything for absolutely no reason and could just be playing by ourselves. So you guys are what makes us a podcast. So thank you so much for the support. Thank you for being a part of this community. It is amazing. We love you guys and gals, and we are just so grateful. And I would like to thank, let's change up the order, because you never know if people shut off the episode. Ryan, I always thank you last. I'm going to thank you first because I've ignored you this entire episode. Ryan makes all of our music, literally
Oh, so
all
good.
of it. You think this guy makes a shortcut sometimes and just rips off some license-free song? You're wrong. This
You're
dude
wrong.
makes original music for literally every single thing. He is like
so dope.
talented, and he's been like learning all these new things and like getting all these new tools, and he is like breathing so much life into our podcast. We hope you enjoy it. Hope it's enhancing your experience, because we just really love it. So thank you so much for doing that, Ryan. You're the man. Sorry you don't get to play anymore though, but keep making that music. And
I feel better
so
now.
the reverse order. Then I would like to thank Adam, who does all of our artwork for the show. I'm talking our logo, all our social media banners, all our profile pictures, all of our character portraits, all of our character action shots. And then every week he does a Patreon vote poll where you guys get a vote on what you want him to draw to commemorate the episode. And then he just churns this out in like 2 to 3 days, and it's like amazing. I mean, some of these are like 9-panel comic strips, like insanely high quality.
They get better every time.
Adam.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, and he set up our
Thank you,
YouTube render.
guys.
So if you're watching on YouTube and you see like all those that like crazy cool like nebula background and then the pulsating audio wave, that's all Adam doing all that. So yeah, thank you so much, Adam.
Thanks,
Really
Adam.
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Super amazing. And I would like to thank Taryn, who does all of our sound effects for the episode. So anytime you hear someone falling off a cliff and their body splatting, when the guy rolls out of the cart in this episode and then gets ran over by a wheel and it does that like crunch sound, guarantee you that's Taryn. Thank you, Taryn, for doing all that, because you're turning this into like literally an audio drama. And I listen to these episodes like vocal edit, then the sound effects and like the music, and I'm telling you like the difference between just like flat vocals and then Taryn like finding opportunistic moments to insert sounds. It's like amazing. Really sends it to the next level. Thank you so much. And it takes a while. Like this dude's got to pour through a lot of sounds. So thank you so much, Taryn. And I'd like to thank
Thanks,
Joel for all of our vocal edits. This dude takes all of our sidetracked conversations and has to like relive them and then delete them.
Just the
And
worst.
all of our lip smacks and coughs and sniffles, this dude's got to listen to him. He saves them all because he's making like this weird ASMR video on the side. Yeah, we'll see when that comes out. Yeah, and he has to like solve all these little puzzles and like piece together all our retakes and like make a good fluid thing. So when you're like, wow, these guys sound really buttoned up and put together and coherent. No, we don't. It's Joel. It's Joel doing that. And so yeah, thank you so much for doing that, Joel. That's also a very time-consuming process. And once again, for the last time, thank you, audience. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for the support. If you're still listening to the end of this episode, thank you so much for listening all the way through. And there's a blooper at the end for you, so check it out. And I have a feeling, I don't know, we technically had like 30 bloopers from this episode, so I wonder which one we'll end up going with. But yeah, we'll see you next time, mortals.
Could name it Digbsy.
You call it hippie.
Good one, Zach.
Shut the fuck up, Ryan.
Great.
Yeah, name it better, Ryu.
No, you could tell everybody loved that idea, though.